now it's Claire Riley Entrepreneur. Totally nearly did this on the wrong page. Claire Classroom Secrets, I don't even know what it's called. Lucky for you, I did it right. Okay, so today we're talking about acting on feedback, and I had a very nice holiday yesterday, thank you, my one day off. I decided to have a day off because sometimes you just need a day off, and I just needed a day to just not have to worry about making a live up. Anyway, yeah, so acting on feedback. So I just want to tell you some stuff about that, really. I'll be honest, at the beginning, it's very difficult because the kind of feedback that you get, it seems like it's helpful, but at the end of the day, it's your baby that they're criticising. And in the beginning, it's difficult. To a point where I don't feel that bothered anymore if I get feedback, but some of the other guys do, because they're closer to it. They might have created that, whereas it's not a point where I've created something anymore, and so I can look at it more objectively. So it is a difficult thing getting feedback, but I just sort of had some pointers and some tips about it. So knowing when to act and how it can improve your business is pretty important. And there is a difference. There is a time when you should react to the feedback, and there is a time when you should ignore it. And that's whether it aligns with your vision or not and your mission. If it doesn't align with your vision and your mission, then absolutely you should not bother doing it, because that's for another business or somebody else to do. But if it will align with your mission and your vision, then there's sort of some things to think about as to whether you're going to do it or not. One of them obviously is people power. If you don't have the people power, it can be difficult, but then if you don't make changes, then you might not move your business on. So I just had a couple of examples that I thought I could talk about. So 2013 is when I started the business, and at that time I was doing absolutely everything. I was creating the resources, I was putting them all online, creating the pages, everything to do with it. So there were some people that would give me feedback at that point and would say, oh, it's really good, but I think the activity should be different for each level. Now, if you don't know anything about our resources, basically we give them the same activity generally, but it's harder or more difficult. And they were in 3 differentiated levels when I first started. Now, that's kind of our niche, the fact that it is the same activity and it's the same thing. So that really didn't align with what I was trying to do. So I didn't change it to doing different activities for all 3 different levels because it wasn't valuable feedback to me. But there were a lot of things that I have done. So another example is that we only provided the 3 differentiated levels, and people pointed out, actually you need more than that. And as I'd worked in a class that did need more than that, I could see actually they've got a point here. So what I did after that is I did up to 6 levels, but I just did it based on the resource I was making. I would differentiate as many ways as possible, making sure that it would be challenging and it wasn't too similar, but also not too different as well. So I would just base it on how many were possible for that particular thing that we were doing at the time. Okay, so another thing that we did, and I'm realise this is very Classroom Secretsy, and it might be confusing to people who don't really know the business, but so we've got like a kind of resource called Carousel Guided Reading, and it was suggested by a few people that we do whole class. So we took that on and we looked at a way that we could develop whole class reading, and it was brilliant. It took off. Lots of people use those resources. Lots of people sign up to our subscription because we've got those resources on our website. So it was a good thing. It was the customer was telling us what they need, because at the end of the day, I'd say that 70% of us, we don't experience what the customer experiences anymore. So we need to be listening to the customer all the time and acting on that feedback so that we know what we can sell to them. So another thing, so we developed some math resources, and one of the things that came across is the layout And we didn't just take feedback from this, we actually went into the teaching groups that are on Facebook and looked at what they were doing and looked at how they were teaching and sort of developed our resources based on that from their feedback, even though it wasn't always direct feedback. So they said that they laid them out in columns, so we decided to try and do our resources where we laid them out in columns. And then it came in, actually, do you know what, it'd be really helpful, because we cut these columns into strips, if you actually put the titles above each of them instead of just in the middle, and then it's not cut in half. So that was an interesting thing. We thought that's a good idea. So then going forward, we rolled it out that there would be titles above both columns instead of just the one, so that it would be cut in half where they could see the title clearly. It just seems like a really little change, but actually it just makes the service so much better. So I was just reading the notes that I've already said. So yeah, we're not really experiencing what the customer experiences, so we need to make sure that we're listening to them. And we monitored our own Facebook groups, but also the other teaching Facebook groups for ideas. So some other things that we've done recently is we've made some changes to the website just by asking in our Facebook groups. We also did a survey as well. One of the changes was about the login. So when you log in, it doesn't take you back to the page that you're on. So we're working through one of them because there's a few different types that we have to work on in the back end, but we've sorted one because that was really easy fix. So the maths menu that we've got as well, so it was we were asked if we could actually put all the maths resources in like a massive mega menu, which we did, so that you could find all the blocks and everything, so they were easy to navigate. So it took a little bit of work, but that really helped everybody find all the products, because it's all right having a website and having nearly 3,000 resources, but if the customer can't find them, then they're not going to sign up again next year. So we've got more work to do on that as well. So all these things we've changed because of feedback from the customers, and they basically just help us to sell the product. And Julie says that she loves the math menu. I'm glad someone from the Classroom Secrets side is watching and understands what on earth I'm talking about. So just a few tips I wanted to give then. So it's important to not jump in straight away and change everything. You need to evaluate whether it's actually going to be good for your business in terms of, you know, making sales. Is it a good move? You also need to work out if it aligns with your business. Is it only one person asking, or are you seeing repeating themes? Because if you're seeing repeating themes, it's definitely something that you should consider. One person might have a great idea, and if it's a quick fix and you think that it's going to work, then definitely do it. But sometimes people have a really out there idea that could take ages. Well, you want to know whether that's actually going to be useful. And if you think that idea might be a good idea, but you've only had one person, then put it out there. So put it on your Facebook page, put it in your groups and ask, would this be a good idea if we did this? Because not only you are asking them then that whether it's a good idea and say to them it's a possibility, you're also putting it in the mind. It's kind of like advertising, ready for when you have done it as well. So that's another good point. You know, does it align with your vision and your mission? If it doesn't, then don't do it. And don't take it personally. It's really hard to do that, especially at the beginning. And I've got to the point where I don't take it personally, because I'd be crying in my room every night if I did that, probably all day. But yeah, it's not a personal thing. They just want a service that works for them. And you know, we will have customers that kind of say, oh, can you do this and this, because that's what I do in my school. And you know full well that that's not what everybody else does, and it's absolutely impossible. But at the end of the day, if you don't ask, you don't get, do you? And obviously we're probably going to say no, but I kind of think I might ask. If I were in that situation now, I'd probably just ask anyway, because you never know. As far as I know, 90% of schools might have to do it the way I do. I don't know. So yeah, try and think of it objectively and think, if I was somebody else, would I agree with what they were saying? And that'll help you decide whether to act on the feedback. But I would say we probably act on 90% of feedback where possible. There's some things that we're just never going to do. because it's not helpful for the business, or it doesn't really help us grow the business. But a lot of the things are really useful, and if it's useful for that one person or those 3 people, then it's likely going to be useful across the board. So it's really important to listen to feedback and act on it, and keep doing that as a continual process, and you will improve your product, your business, and hopefully improve your sales and grow your empire.